Hey VW lovers, time for another episode of Day in the Life of Vintage Classic Specialist. It is September 11th. Quite a date. Those of us that have been around since before then, or were around then, will probably never forget where we were on that date when all that terrible stuff went down. But anyway, that's not what I'm here to talk about. But yeah, I did actually think about this date this morning, talk to my wife about it a little bit. So anyway, let's talk about what we did on Volkswagens today. So today, Rafa actually mostly worked on the 69 cowlick bug. And for those of you that have done it before, you won't be surprised. But these cowlick one-piece windows are really fighting us. These things are a pain in the ass, and the parts just don't really fit that great. I guess primarily what I mean by parts are the scrapers, the inner and outer scrapers, and the clips that are supposed to hold them on, and they just don't fit that well. And again, people who have done these before are probably laughing at me saying, yeah, welcome to my world. But yeah, they're just way too tight. I mean, you can even see here with this window rolled down partially, how tiny this opening is here. I mean, I can't even it's so tight. There's like no opening there at all. So we talked to Brian Roth over at Roth Vintage. He's actually done a bunch of these. He had some good suggestions. Rafa and I put our heads together. I think we're going to actually try these scrapers, which these are actually some that I have for my that I bought for my split window Beetle. So we may give these a try. I don't know. We'll see. We got to try something. We're also going to use, instead of the little cheesy clips that came with it, we're going to use the original style wire clips to hold the scrapers in, at least on the outside. And then on the inside, I think we're going to replace the rubber scraper with a Carmen Ghia style felt scraper. So there's not really any reason you need a rubber scraper on the inside of the window too, because that side should be dry. So as far as like keeping water from getting down into the door, which is the whole point of the scrapers, you should really only need a rubber scraper on the outside. So I think just in terms of like loosening up this fit in here a little bit, we're going to try the split window seal on the outside and then the Carmen Ghia style felt scraper on the inside. I think that's probably going to do it, but I've got to order the Carmen Ghia style inner ones and get those. And so yeah, we're probably just gonna give this thing a rest here until Monday. Hopefully by then I'll have the parts in, and then again Rafa and I can kind of put our heads together and see if we can get these working better. So yeah, kind of frustrating, struggling around with those. The other thing Rafa did was he noticed yesterday actually that the mirror on this side was missing the little threaded insert that's supposed to be part of the door. Let me show you what that looks like. So yeah, there's supposed to be a threaded insert like this that's part of the door, that is what the mirror attaches to, and it was just flat out missing on this side. I don't know how we sort of missed that until now, but Rafa was actually able to find a nut of that same thread pitch that screws onto the base of the mirror, and kind of get his hand up in there and get the nut on there. And so yeah, it's fit on there perfect now. It's not going anywhere, but yeah, kind of a pain to put this mirror on because again, that thing was missing. And so yeah, it's on now. We didn't bother putting the other side on because we don't need to. That can go on later at any point in time. It's just this one has to go on before the window gets assembled, because we actually had to pull some of the door mechanism back apart in order for him to get his hand up in there and get that nut and stuff on this thing and tighten it down. So just kind of a pain in the butt all around. You know, we'll get it, but it is fighting us. And so again, not surprising in hindsight for one-piece windows that they would fight us, but they're going to look bitching on here. So at the end, it should be worth it. Anyway, so that was Rafa's day for the most part. My day was centered around the 64 bus. And the primary thing that I did was, as you may have seen in the thumbnail of the video, was I got the front suspension on. And again, I had already pre-assembled the whole front suspension and disc brakes. I had the tie rods on there, everything. So it's pretty much just a matter of getting this thing up in there and bolting it in. And yeah, it looks killer. So this is a 2-inch narrowed adjustable beam. This comes from our friends at Air Cooled Vintage Works. So that's Jason. Mention his name occasionally. So yeah, that's this is Jason's handiwork here, this front beam. Super nice. I mean, the thing just fit so good, so perfect. And they use really high quality adjusters. I mean, the thing is just really, really nice. And then a brake kit also from them. This is actually an impy part. Also super nice. Pretty beefy calipers. I have no doubt that this is gonna stop really nice. And so yeah, anyway, got the front end today. Went ahead and hooked up the rubber brake hoses to the calipers, and hooked up the clutch cable, which kind of runs between the two tubes of the front beam. I got the front shift rod kind of in there temporarily. I still need the hanger for it. And what else? Yeah, so unfortunately, I was also going to put the rear transmission and suspension on here today, and I got the transmission up in there, and I was going to connect the axles to the spring plates, and the axles where they go on the spring plate, it was like that much too narrow on each side, which is obviously not right. And so as it turns out, miscommunication or misunderstanding or something with my transmission guy is he didn't actually build this transmission correctly for a bus that has the reduction box delete. So what this actually needs is it needs the axle tube itself to be over 1.5 inches longer, and then it needs a different end casting here, and it needs slightly different axles. So pretty much the way this is built, it would fit right in a 67 Beetle and be bitchin', but it won't fit in a bus. And so basically the distance between the spring plates on a bus, as you can imagine, is wider than it is on a Beetle. And these are quite a bit bigger vehicles. And so the width on these, the way he built it, you know, from here to there is perfect for a Beetle, not for a bus. So yeah, I had this all up in there and went to go, you know, kind of slide the spring plates or the axles into the spring plates. There was no way it was going. Again, it was like that much on each side that this housing was too narrow relative to those to those spring plates. So yeah, not even close to going. So yeah, so that kind of sucked. So this came back out. And yeah, it's got to go back to my transmission guy. I've got to get some parts here to make it correct. So that was a bummer, because I was really hoping to, you know, kind of finish off the back of this car as far as getting the suspension. You know, I do have the disc brake kit for back here already. I was going to go ahead and put that on. You know, I was planning to do a lot of work back here, but pretty much got totally foiled. So that was a real bummer. But life goes on. So other than that, Jacob was in today for about 2.5, 3 hours. Pretty much finished wiring the front of the 56 Beetle, with the exception of the little fuse box that goes up here that holds the 2 fuses for the front headlights. That's out of stock currently at Wolfsburg, but that'll be easy to put in when we get it. And then he actually got the back pretty wired up here. I think he actually has the starter connected here, put a new grommet in, connected that, and then his tail lights are all hooked up here. So and ran to their respective sides. We didn't go ahead and pull them through the fenders yet, because I think that when our painter paints the back of this car, he'll probably some of the paint may go onto the fender some, so we didn't figure there was any reason to have the wires hanging out. They would just be in the way of painting. But yeah, the back of this car, other than obviously wiring the motor up when it goes in, back of the car is also pretty much wired. So he's Jacob's doing a really good job. He's a quick learner and he's fearless. You just point him in the right direction and he just hops right in and does it. So yeah, that is it for today, guys. We will see you again tomorrow. Thanks for watching.